Have you ever noticed how some people ask questions that feel strange? Not because they want the truth, but because they want control. A manipulator rarely attacks you directly. Instead, they ask a carefully designed question, one that traps you, pressures you, or makes you doubt yourself. And the moment you answer, you've already stepped into their game. The ancient Stoic philosophers understood this deeply. Thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus taught that the strongest mind is not the one that argues the loudest, but the one that refuses to be manipulated. In this video, you'll discover 5 manipulative questions toxic people use to control others, and more importantly, the Stoic way to deal with them without losing your peace or your power. Because sometimes the strongest response is not answering at all. Let's begin. You think you're having a normal conversation, but sometimes you're actually being pulled into a trap. Toxic people rarely manipulate you in obvious ways. They don't always shout, threaten, or openly lie. Instead, they ask simple questions. Questions that sound harmless, but are designed to make you feel guilty, defensive, or unsure of yourself. Suddenly, you find yourself explaining too much, defending your decisions, or even doubting your own judgment. And the worst part is, most people don't even realize it's happening. What feels like a conversation is actually a psychological game. A game where the goal is simple: control your emotions and control you. Long before modern psychology, the Stoic philosophers understood something powerful about human behavior. They knew that the greatest battles in life are not fought with fists, but within the mind. Thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus constantly warned about people who try to disturb your peace, provoke your emotions, or pull you into pointless arguments. But the Stoics had a simple principle. If someone else can control your emotions, then they control you. That's why Stoicism teaches one of the most powerful skills a person can develop: the ability to pause, observe what is happening, and choose your response instead of reacting automatically. Because not every question deserves an answer. Sometimes, the strongest move you can make is to recognize the trap and simply refuse to play the game. And once you understand the questions manipulators use, you start seeing them everywhere. Let's begin with the first one. At first, this might sound like a normal question, but in reality, it's often used as a psychological weapon. When someone says something disrespectful, hurtful, or unfair, and you react to it, a manipulator will immediately flip the situation. Instead of taking responsibility for their behavior, they turn the spotlight on you. Suddenly, the problem is no longer what they said. The problem becomes your reaction. Why are you so sensitive? Can't you take a joke? You're overreacting. This tactic is meant to make you doubt your own feelings. It's a subtle way of saying your boundaries are the problem, not my behavior. But Stoic philosophy teaches something very important. You are responsible for how you respond, but you are not obligated to tolerate disrespect. A Stoic response is calm and simple. Instead of defending yourself emotionally, you remain grounded and say something like, "I'm not sensitive, I just don't tolerate disrespect." No anger, no long explanation, just clarity. Because when you stop defending yourself to manipulators, their game begins to fall apart. And that leads us to the second question manipulators love to use. Don't you trust me? This question is one of the most powerful manipulation tactics because it targets your emotions directly. Instead of addressing the real issue, the person shifts the conversation toward loyalty and trust. For example, you might question someone's behavior, a decision they made, or something that doesn't feel right. But instead of giving a clear answer, they respond with, "Wow, so you don't trust me? After everything, you still doubt me?" Now the conversation is no longer about the situation. It becomes about proving that you're a good, loyal person. And many people fall into this trap. They start apologizing, they back down, they ignore their instincts just to avoid looking suspicious or disloyal. But Stoic philosophy reminds us of something important. Trust is not proven through blind obedience. It is built through consistent actions and honesty. A Stoic response stays calm and refuses the emotional trap. Instead of defending yourself, you simply say, "Trust has nothing to do with asking questions." Short, clear, balanced. Because wise people understand that questioning something is not betrayal, it is awareness. And manipulators fear awareness more than anything. Now let's look at the third question manipulators often use to control conversations. This question is designed to make you feel like your concerns don't matter. When you confront someone about something important, a broken promise, disrespect, or dishonest behavior, a manipulator will often minimize the situation. They'll say things like, "Why are you making this such a big deal? It's not that serious. You're overreacting." This goal is simple: to make you feel like your reaction is irrational. Over time, this kind of manipulation slowly damages a person's confidence. You begin to question yourself. You start wondering if maybe you really are overreacting, and eventually you stop speaking up at all. But the Stoics warned about this kind of mental pressure. Epictetus once taught that if you want to improve, you must be willing to look foolish in the eyes of others. In other words, protecting your principles will sometimes make others uncomfortable, and that's okay. A Stoic response does not argue or try to prove your point endlessly. Instead, you stay calm and grounded. You might simply say, "It's a big deal to me," and that's enough. No anger, no emotional explosion, just quiet certainty. Because people who try to minimize your concerns are often afraid of one thing: being held accountable. Now let's move to the fourth question manipulators use when they feel they're losing control of the conversation. Are you really going to ruin everything over this? This question is one of the most powerful emotional traps manipulators use, because it shifts the responsibility from their behavior to your reaction. Maybe they lied, maybe they crossed a boundary, maybe they disrespected you. But instead of addressing what they did, they say something like, "Are you really going to ruin everything over this? Is this really worth destroying our relationship? You're going to throw all of this away because of that." Suddenly, the pressure is on you. Now you're not just dealing with the issue anymore. You're being made responsible for the entire relationship. Many people fall into this trap because they don't want to look like the one who caused the conflict. So they stay silent. They forgive too quickly. They ignore their own boundaries just to keep the peace. But Stoic philosophy teaches something very clear. Peace built on disrespect is not peace. It is submission. A Stoic does not allow emotional pressure to erase their principles. The response doesn't need to be dramatic or aggressive. It can be calm, simple, and firm. I'm not ruining anything. I'm addressing a problem. That's it. Because when someone tries to make you responsible for their actions, they are revealing exactly how they tried to control people. And the moment you stop carrying that false responsibility, their power over you disappears. Now, let's talk about the fifth and most dangerous question manipulators use. Can't you just let it go? This question may sound peaceful, even reasonable, but very often it is used as a way to escape responsibility. When someone says or does something wrong and you bring it up calmly, a manipulator will try to shut the conversation down with this line: "Can't you just let it go? Why are you still talking about this? Just move on already." At first, it sounds like they are asking for peace, but what they are really asking for is permission to avoid accountability. Because if you let it go, the problem disappears, not because it was solved, but because you stopped addressing it. The Stoics believed that true peace does not come from ignoring problems. It comes from facing reality with clarity and courage. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that integrity means doing what is right even when it is uncomfortable. A Stoic response to this manipulation is calm and grounded. You might say, "I'm willing to let it go once it's addressed." Simple, clear, respectful. Because letting something go does not mean pretending it never happened. Real peace comes from truth, accountability, and self-respect. And once you understand these 5 manipulative questions, something interesting begins to happen. You start noticing them everywhere, not because the world suddenly changed, but because your awareness has grown. And awareness is something manipulators fear more than anything. When you step back and look at these 5 questions, something becomes very clear. Manipulation does not always come through force. More often, it comes through words. A simple question can make you doubt yourself. It can pressure you to explain, defend, or apologize even when you've done nothing wrong. But Stoic philosophy teaches a powerful principle. You are not obligated to respond to every challenge, every insult, or every manipulation. Sometimes the strongest response is silence. Sometimes the wisest response is calm detachment. Because when someone is trying to provoke you, control you, or trap you emotionally, your reaction is exactly what they want. The Stoics understood this thousands of years ago. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in his personal reflections, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed." In other words, when you refuse to let other people control your emotions, their power over you disappears. Manipulators rely on confusion, guilt, and emotional pressure. But a calm and disciplined mind cannot be easily manipulated. And that is the true strength Stoicism teaches. Not controlling others, but mastering yourself. If this video helped you see manipulation more clearly, then you're already developing something powerful: awareness. And awareness is the first step toward building an unbreakable mind. If you want more videos about Stoicism, mental strength, and mastering your emotions, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Because in a world full of noise, manipulation, and distractions, the greatest power you can build is control over your own mind.